time it was in Minnesota as well. Let's hear from Frank Vogel, who's speaking with Mike in the media.
Frank, hate to be repetitive, but we talked about the first quarter, and it seemed like it happened again. What did you notice, and were there anything specific to this game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the effort was a lot better in the first quarter than the last two. You know, Bron wanted to set a tone. You know, I thought he did come out and, you know, laid it all out there and set a great tone for our group. Just couldn't put the ball in the basket. You know, 0 for 10 from 3 in the first quarter again, and you know, that just puts us behind the 8 ball. So, you know, we're going to continue to work on shot quality, and you know, got to figure out a way to put the ball in the basket.
Some of those looks were open. Did you feel like the shot quality overall was good?
Overall, yeah. I mean, there was a couple contested, but most of them were really good. You know, we shot 4 for 23 on open threes for the game. You know, they shot like I think 7 for 11. You know, sometimes it comes down to makes and misses, and you know, I was pleased that we had better effort tonight than we did the last 2 games.
Frank, I don't know if this is a chicken or an egg type situation, but does your team need to play more confident, more aggressive basketball, and can it do that when, you know, it's starting games down 20 and is forced to kind of try to scramble their way back?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can play more confident and more aggressive. Yes.
Frank, you know, we've talked about how the team struggles to kind of get out when they're or keep optimism when they're in a hole. Do you think that shooting can be affected by that? Do you think shooting either in the legs or something can kind of feel that influence?
Well, we're shooting better when we get down, you know, than when we're starting a game. You know, so, you know, it's tough to put your finger on it. You know, you can speculate as to what it is. You know, our guys really want it. We really want to turn this around. You know, our guys are putting in the work. There's a high care factor, and you know, so you know, maybe they're putting too much pressure on themselves to start game, but you know, we just got to figure it out.
Frank, you guys got it to within a few in the fourth, and then I think they went on a 17-4 run. What kind of happened during that stretch where the game got away?
Yeah, well, they made 3 threes, and one of them bounced up to the ceiling and fell right through. We can't get a bounce, and you know, they get that bounce. We get 2, you know, to me, questionable calls in the fourth quarter of a close game, and Bron's travel and Bron's illegal screen, like terrible calls. Or if you're going to call that, then call it throughout the whole game. So very frustrating there, and then you know, during that stretch, I think Bron hit a 3 and we missed 2 open threes. So you know, they went 3 for 3, we went 1 for 3 during that stretch, and had those 2 whistle turnovers.
Any more questions for Coach?
I was also going to say, it seemed like there was a lot of trash talking going on from their side. Did you guys notice that, and did you take any issue with that?
No comment on that.
Sounds like a broken record. I know it's hard for you guys to have to break this down because it feels like it's the same thing every single night, but this team is struggling. They got to find a way out.
Yeah, I mean, the struggle is the same. You know, they just don't seem to, you know, get out of the gates that quick, and then they're not playing that well. You know, to start. You know, when they get down, they still are not together. You know, they move the ball sometimes and they get good shots. Then a lot of times they're very stagnant. They're very predictable, and I think teams have caught on to that. They're not afraid of the Lakers anymore, and you know, without some consistency in your offense or defense, you're very vulnerable. And you know, I think teams kind of know that about the Lakers now.
I'm trying to think of really what to say, because
You've actually kept it pretty positive these last couple weeks.
yeah, you watch this team and all of a sudden they give you that excellent third quarter, and you're like, okay, this is the Lakers that we fell in love with. Then all of a sudden, then they flip the script where the ball doesn't move. Everybody says, okay, we got a run going. Let me be the star now. Let me take a bad shot. Let me do this. And you can't have this if you want to be a ball club that wins games. You got to be consistent and stay the course. I think when DJ Augustine came in, he ran that show. He made them run the offense, and they got a little rhythm going.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out of the game, and we go back to being like, okay, one-on-one basketball, drive and kick. We're not going to get in the head. We're not shooting the ball good from 3. So drive it, get some easy buckets. And it's just hard to sometimes to sit here and stay positive and watch this because they keep doing dumb stuff.
Yeah. Listen, you just mentioned shooting the three, 22%. Again tonight, minus 21. But here's what's happening also. I call it the first quarter blues. Lakers getting out of the gate, as you mentioned, Big Game James. They continue to dig themselves a hole that is hard to get out of. So check this out. This is the last three first quarters. Phoenix Suns, Toronto Raptors, and tonight against the Timberwolves. The Lakers are 1 for 33 from three. The opponents lead minus 39 in that category. The Lakers have scored 51 points total in those first three quarters. That's an average of only 17 per first. 61, minus 61 total points, because the deficits have been the 26 to the Suns, 21 to the Raptors, and 14 to the T-Wolves. Minus 61, Big Game James. So when you look at that and you find yourselves down 14 on up to 26, as I've said countless times, I feel like over the last couple weeks, you almost have to play flawless basketball.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get back in games. Yes, in the third quarter, they get themselves back in. Props for that. But the way you're starting this game, I don't know how to change it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Frank Vogel and the staff racking their brains, but it's got to come from the guys.
It's got to come from within. You know, it almost seems like they're giving their opponents a 15-point lead at the beginning of the game, and they're down 0-15 when they start. It's hard to play from behind all the time. Sometimes you're going to get down, but it's a consistent habit with this team. And, you know, I like what Rob said when Augustine came in. You know, he's a true point guard, played for Vogel, knows how to settle down. You know, that one time you saw where he even waved off. Rob saw one time where he even waved off LeBron James so they can get into something. They need to believe in one another, too. I just don't think too much one-on-one. And when I see other teams, that ball is moving and stopping. You don't know who's going to get the shot. But with this team, I don't know, man. They're relying a lot on LeBron James to pull them out of it. But I don't think that's the key. You got to use his specialty, but you still got to have a flowing offense and guys involved, and it's just not happening on a nightly basis.
Listen, we're not into burying people when they're down, but it's our job to break down what's happening. And Rob, you've been a player in this league. I think you went to 16 straight playoffs in your 16 years and never lost in the first round. But I'm sure you had moments where your team was sliding. But this, Rob, when you know the other team basically is saying in that locker room, let's come out and throw a haymaker in the first quarter, and it's over. At what point do you, as a player, in that locker room say, we're not losing this first quarter? Not the game, just that first quarter, because you're just getting blown out.
Because, you know, you have to think of it in a hockey term. You just got to win quarters. And a lot of times, I remember when I was with the Spurs, we had lackluster first quarters for a while. And then we just had to have a meeting and say, yo, dude, we can't be this bad in the first quarter. We too good. We waste too much energy on the comeback. We need in the third and fourth quarter be on cruise control so we can sit and rest our starters and give our bench some conditioning. Because that's basically what it is when the bench comes in. They're conditioned because they're not used to playing all those minutes. So they have to figure out what's wrong. You know how sometimes they have player-only meetings? They need to have a player-coaches-only meeting. Everybody sits there, and you get to say, hey, we're going to say what we feel, and when we leave here, we're going to let it go. Because